just start off and just take us back to how it all started for you from your younger days?
I think, like most kids from my era, you started playing football with your dad. You know, he takes you to the park and put the jumpers, the goalposts down, and then you end up playing in a team. So I think when I was 6, I was playing for Cornwall Dynamo's under 10s. And believe it or not, I was a little bit chunky and a bit fat when I was 10. I know you wouldn't never tell that now, obviously being the slim type person I am. But I was a little bit chunky, say, playing in the under 10s, playing at centre half. And then what you do is you build up a bit of a reputation, even at that age in your local area, that, you know, they've got this ginger kid who's playing, he ain't bad. And then you play in the school team. If you're good enough, you go for trials. Then you get into the district team, then the county side. And then if you're lucky enough, you get invited for trials with professional clubs. There was no academies in my era. You know, they spend multi-million pounds now on these academies. They take the kids now from embryos. Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, the age that they are, it's just ridiculous. I don't think they give the kids enough scope to express themselves. There's a lot of pressure on kids at 11, 12, 13, which is ridiculous. But yeah, so I just went for trials. My dad's best mate, Mike Brown, right off to trials, and I got invited to go up to Wolverhampton Wanderers for schoolboy trials. And what you do is, if your trial goes well, they sign you on what's called associate schoolboy forms. So it means you go from 14 to 16, you go training there every school holidays. And it was quite a way, because I lived in Sudbury. Wolverhampton was in the Midlands. It was about 4.5, 5 hours away from me. And I can remember my dad basically just sticking me on the train and saying, "Where you go, boy? You want to be a footballer?" I was worried why he was calling me boy, because I was only a child. I thought you should at least know what my name is. But he goes, "Where you go, boy? Up you go, get on the train." And it was his way of saying, you want to be a footballer, then you've got to have that desire and you've got to want it. Now, I'm not going to mollycoddle you, and I'm not going to hand feed you and, you know, take you and drop you off. You got on your own. It makes you grow up very quickly. And then you get to see the big D day. Everything had gone great in my career from being a kid. It was all best player in the school team, best player in the county side, and everything had been the whole way had been successful. No knockbacks, no times where I'd fouled anything, in inverted commas. And then you get to 16, and then they decide whether they take you on as an apprentice or not. And basically what it means is you sign a 2-year contract, 16 to 18, and you're the general dog's body, where you sweep the stands and you sweep out the dressing rooms, but you train every day, so you become full-time. And that is all I wanted to do. That was my schoolwork dwindled because I just wanted to be a footballer, and didn't get as many qualifications as I probably should have done. And then, so they send you through a letter. And those, again, no emails, no text, no mobile phones. We will send you a letter through, and that will tell you whether we're going to sign you or not. And I can remember sitting, the letter came through, the letterbox was 16. So my rest of my life is panned out in front of me now. It's panned out. This letter is the gateway to what I want to be and what I want to do. And I can remember reading it. It took me about an hour, to be fair, to open it, because I was just frightened. I thought, no, I can't. I don't know. Is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? I ain't sure. And I can remember the first lines when I read it. It said, "Dear Perry, due to financial constraints, we have decided we're not going to be offering you an apprenticeship for Wolverhampton Football Club." And world just fell apart. That was it. Done. Finished. I thought, that's it. I ain't going to be a footballer. And tears, crying. I don't like seeing footballers cry on the pitch, because they're crying for themselves. They're not crying for any other reason. John Terry, when he missed the penalty, you think, "I'll grow up," something. Anyway, it's a bit of a tangent. So I can remember, I thought, that's it. My world has just collapsed. I'm 16. They're telling me I'm no good. No one had ever said to me that you're not any good at football. We don't think you're good enough. No one had. It got to that, and I was 16. And I can remember my dad coming up. He's an old East End, real tough, bloke. He said, "What's the matter with you?" I said, "Dad, that's it. I ain't going to be a footballer. I'm done." He went, "Really?" He said, "Why ain't you going to be a footballer?" I said, "Well, Wolverhampton Wanderers have told me that I ain't any good." He said, I said, "I've failed." And I can remember he said to me, he said, No. He said, "You haven't failed. You haven't failed at all. You've not succeeded the first time." He said, "Now this will be a test. This will be a test for you. How badly and how much desire do you have to be a footballer? If you really believe it, I know," he said, "I'm biased. I know you have a bit of talent." He said, "And there's 92 clubs, professional clubs." He said, "If you've got that willpower and that desire, and I will take you round 91 clubs. I will take you. It's only someone's opinion, and football is about opinions. It's not factual. It's about what someone thinks. Same as in business, same as in any walk of life. It's what someone's opinion is of you." And he said, "Do you know what?" He said, "Fear of failure, that's not a bad thing." He said, "But failing to try and overcome that first time you've been knocked back, that is the crime. He said, fear, everybody has, fears of failure. Everybody, it's natural. He said, in your life, trust me, you're going to go through times where it ain't going for you. It ain't working. He said, but how much desire have you got to get yourself through that? So then I just went on trials again and went to loads of different clubs. And then Culture United offered me an apprenticeship when I was 16. So that's how I first started in professional football.
As I said, you don't really need me. There's a clear message
long,
there.
Yeah. I think everybody's falling asleep.
Not at all. There's a clear message there that if you're scared to fail, you never succeed. You had clearly had the determination, or your father instilled that in you, to keep on going. Colchester then sign you.
Yeah.
George Graham becomes the manager of Arsenal. Colchester, obviously you played, you scored quite
I got in the first team, which was unusual in those days. I got in the first team when I was 16. So, and again, it's the way that I look at it in life in general, and even in business and anything that anybody does. You can have a little bit of talent, and a big desire to succeed, and a work ethic, and a belief, and that will take you places. That will open doors. You can have loads of talent and no desire and no work ethic. It gets you nowhere. You've got no chance. And it does my head in when I hear all these people say, "Oh, Grovesy, yeah, I could have been a footballer. I could have done this. I was better than you." And you go, "No, you weren't, because you didn't." No, you just say because you didn't, and you say, "Oh, I got injured." No, it's because you didn't want it enough. You didn't want it. You didn't crave it enough. You didn't have that desire, passion, and heart, and that can overcome a lot of things in anything that you do. And people then start to so I got in the first team at 16, and then played quite well. Got dropped again. Was too interested in ladies, I think. I was about 18, 19, so my performance levels dropped a little bit. And then was going to get released by Colchester, and just thought, I'm wasting. I can remember my dad, and again, he's a big, tough, strong East End man. From when I was 6 to 18, I think he missed 4 games in any game that I played for schools. He was a long distance lorry driver, and he used to get his load off early, go out so he could come watch me play. And I can remember I got dropped by the first team, playing in reserves, having a bit of a sulk up. And I remember on a Friday he went, I said, "Dad, we're playing Lowestoft tomorrow." He went, "I ain't coming." And I just went, "What?" And he had tears. He had tears in his eyes. The only time I've ever seen him cry, he went, "I ain't coming." He said, "I'm not watching my son waste his talent and his ability." He said, "That's what you're doing." He said, "I can't be privy to that." He said, "I cannot be watching that." He said, I had dedication for you. I believed in you." He said, "I'm not bothered about having bad games. I don't care if it ain't going well, but you ain't trying." He said, "The last 3 games I've seen you play, you're not putting everything in that you could be getting, and I ain't going for it. I'm not doing it." And I just thought, my God, my dad's flipping in tears, And I played the next game on Saturday, and I was thinking, my head was spinning, my dad's not here. It felt like someone had chopped my left leg off. I was playing like someone had chopped my left leg off, but it felt like someone had chopped my left leg off. And I was like, "Where's my dad? He's not here." I can remember playing halfway through the second half, and I looked over, and he was over right in the far corner, so he didn't think that I could see him. And I thought, he's here. So I didn't say anything. Go back. I think we won 3-0. I played all right, to be fair. So he went back. He said, "How'd it go today?" I said, "It was all right." And there's a game of bluff going. I went, "Yeah, it went okay." But I went, "No." He said, "You were pants in the first half." He said, "Second half, that was more like you, and I scored as well." He said, "If you're going to do that, I'll come and watch you wherever you go." He said, "But don't win." In the end, started playing well, got back in the first team. And then got tapped up by Crystal Palace at first. Crystal Palace were in the second division. I got a phone call, and there was 2, he was known as the Ginger Ninjas. There was another lad playing up front called Tony Adcock, and he was getting all the attention because he'd scored about 30 goals before Christmas. And I started playing quite well, loads of scouts on a Friday, and then I got a call, because tapping up goes on all the time, so they'll phone you up. The assistant manager was Alan Smith, not Alan Smith, the Arsenal player, but Alan Smith, something else. He said, "Oh, Perry," he said, "Alan Smith here, Crystal Palace. Steve Copp was manager. Been watching you for about last year and a half. We like what you do. We like that your raw energy, your passion, again, the desire. We're trying to get players like that." He said, "We're going to play you up front as a centre forward. I've never played centre forward in my life. I was a winger." And he said, this is amazing how things pan out. He said, "We've just spotted this unbelievably raw but gifted player in he's playing Sunday football, not even Saturday football." He said, "He's going to play up front. He's going to bundle the goals. Want you to play up front because you both got pace. His name's Ian Wright." So it was Ian Wright, they'd spotted in non-league, wanted to. I don't know. Did he make it? I don't know. Was he in it? I don't know. My career on that and his career on that. So so I got tapped up, and I thought I was going to Crystal Palace, and then I got a phone call from my financial advisor, which was a bit weird because he used to charge me money to give me financial advice, even though I had no money. It was a bit weird one, and what I could do with my money, even though I ain't got none, so it was a bit strange. But he got a phone call on it was on September the 2nd, on a Tuesday. He said, Perry, he said, our Culture just accepted a bid of 75 grand. In the papers it was 50 grand. God knows where the other 25 went. You know, really. But so he said, Arsenal have come in for you, going to Arsenal. And my second word was off, because I was like, because I didn't believe him. And my dad's Uncle Vic had been captain of Arsenal in the 50s, so all my family, my whole family tree is Arsenal, like Gooners all the way through. So I said, no, John, I know I'm going to Crystal Palace. You know I'm a Gooner, don't wind me up. You're being very cruel. I know I'm going to Palace. And he said, no, get ready to go to Highbury Thursday, September the 4th. We're going to go and see George Graham, the manager, Ken Fryer, Arsenal winner. So got on Thursday, got on the train. I still think I'm going to Crystal Palace. He's talking about going to Arsenal. Arsenal, obviously, is a massive club. So we get to Liverpool Street, you go to King's Cross, Piccadilly line, going to Arsenal Tube. We got to Arsenal, come out, I went, it's too cruel now. It ain't funny. I was 21, so I said, it ain't funny anymore. You're playing with someone's heartstrings here. You told me I'm going to the Goons. I know I ain't going. And then in my head, I thought, I know what's happening. Crystal Palace is a South London team. We're in North London. It's a clandestine meeting, so no one knows that I'm going to Palace. It's one of those things like that. So I said, this is happening. I've got it now. And we walked up. Obviously, some of you aren't probably afraid with the logistics, but you come out of Arsenal Tube Station, you turn left, and you go right into Avenel Road. And as you go up Avenel Road, you see the East Stand, and it's the famous marble halls. And in those days, they had a commissionaire was outside from 8 in the morning till 5 o'clock at night with full regalia, with his hat, his long jacket on, all gold braided and whatever. And as we walked up Avenel Road, I'm just like that, thinking, this ain't happening. And Nobby, his name was, Nobby says to John Hazel, my bloke I was with, morning Mr Hazel, how are you, is it all right? So I said, yeah, Nobby, how you doing, you all right? And he went, morning Mr Groves, welcome to Highbury. And I just thought, he knew my name. It's honestly, I thought, he knew my name, he knows my name. So I didn't think this might be true. This could actually be, why would he know my name? And so then it was just a daze and a haze really. And cause I hadn't told anybody, I told everybody I was going to Palace. And walk up the famous marble halls. And again, this is, I don't know if it in business or where you're having meetings, to exert your authority. I walked into George Graham's office. It's a massive oak door, and it was like, I don't know if you've seen the scene in The Wizard of Oz where they go and see the wizard, and it's a massive chair. It's a huge chair, and he's a little bloke. He was sitting on the biggest chair I've ever seen, about looked like 4 foot up off the floor. And he put me on this like little milking stool like that, so I'm sitting like that. So maybe it was just my perception, but it just seemed huge. And then he just said, I'm sort of half listening. And my dad had said to me, whatever you do, wherever you go for your negotiations, don't accept their first offer. They'll go low, you'll want high. Be respectful and say, no, I don't think about it. Then they might give you a bit more, so I'm all right. So he's talking, he said, he used to be manager of QPR's youth team. I played for Culture youth team against QPR. And we got beat 7-0, and he said, you stood out. He said, you stood out at 7-0, getting beat. I went, oh, well, I must be. He went, no, he said, because you didn't shut up. He said, all you kept doing is running around, moaning, groaning out. He said, but in his head, it stayed with him that someone who was losing 7-0 still wanted to try and be as good as you could be, still run around. And it stayed in his head. He said, that stayed in my head. He said, I followed your career, and I've watched you play. And he said, you've got...
But I think if I can just interrupt, he's being very humble, because George Graham, if you just think Arsenal are not your low-level, low-league club, they're a massive club. George Graham takes over as manager, and as you all know, a manager goes in and the first thing he has to do is decide what his vision is, who he needs, has a look at what he's got, what he hasn't got, who does he want to bring in, sits down with members of the board and thinks, okay, who am I going to sign? So everyone expects, and this is no disrespect to Perry, that he's going to bring in some household big name, and the first person that he puts on his very first signing of George Graham was Perry Groves.
It was,
so My question again, and this is not out of any disrespect, what was it? And you've sort of just touched on it, but that's the bit for me. As a manager, the first thing you do in a business or in anything is look at what do I need? What was it?
Well, I think in a business and any venture you do, you have to have a vision. You have to know what direction you're going in, and you have to have principles and philosophies that are going to take you there in the end. And his philosophy was, at Arsenal, he had a lot of international players, about 26, 27, on big money, but underperforming. Not, just picking up the money. And he looked at it and he thought, right, I want players with a hunger and a desire who want to get better, and also players that he can mould as well, because you need to be able to. So his vision and his pathway was, I'm going to get rid of all the high earners who are a bit too comfortable, haven't got that real height, and I'm going to actually go with players who've got some talent. Not, I wasn't the most talented player, but I had a little bit of talent, but who really, really wanted to succeed and would do anything to become better and make. So he got 6 of us from the lower leagues: Alan Smith, Lee Dixon, Nigel Winterburn, Steve Bold, myself, and then he had a bunch of talented young players that he was going to give them their chance. And basically what it was is, he knew he could mould us all. He knew he could make us play the way that he wanted us to play, and it would mean something. And he said that Arsenal they'd lost their identity for about 8 years, I think. They hadn't won a trophy. And he said, and I remember sitting, when I was talking to him, he said, we like your desire. He said, you're too raw. He said, we're going to mould you. He said, don't worry about the first team. You ain't going to get in the first team for about a year, but we're going to develop you. He said, I'm going to find other players like that who have the same desire and heart as what you've got. He said, you'll be on 350 quid a week. And I was on £150 a week at Colchester, and I just thought I was a millionaire. As soon as he says 350, I thought, oh my God, I can get a car, I can get a house, I can get out of that. And he said, for 150 quid a week, £150 appearance money, but don't worry about that, because you ain't going to be in the first team anyway. So £5,000 sign non-fee, and a 3-year contract. And again, I just thought, because at Colchester you only signed a year, because there wasn't a lot of money. 3-year contract, that's it, I'm made for life. And I can remember my dad saying to me, don't accept the first offer, play hardball, look him in the eyes, do the shark thing and go, thank you very much, Mr. Graham, for your first offer. I think I'm worth a little bit more than that. I'd like 650 quid a week, 10 grand signed on free and a 4-year contract. That's what I thought I was going to say. And out of my head came, thank you very much. And I just look around and you just look around and just go, who just said that? It was like, so it was about him, and looking back, I didn't think it at the time. It was an unbelievably brave signing, because you said quite right, some areas. When you go into a club, you need to make it. When you become the manager of a big club, you need to make a statement of intent to go, these are the players, that marquee signings, big money signings. These are the players I'm going to bring to this club. To bring like a ginger-headed, basically nobody from 4th division to Arsenal, where the fans were totally underwhelmed, because they're going, oh, they've never heard it. Unless you followed your football, it wasn't 24/7 on telly then. You never saw the lower league games on telly. It didn't, unless you followed your football as a scout, no one knew who I was. No one had a clue. The players didn't know who I was. They didn't have a clue. They had sort of bits, new signing. They went, who the bloody hell's this? So it's quite brave. But again, you have to be, even in business, you have to have the courage of your convictions. You have to be brave. There'll be some decisions that will be unpopular. Some decisions that people will be saying to you, I don't think you should be doing this. You should be going down this road. But you've got to have the courage of your own convictions to go, no, that's my vision, that's my philosophy, that's where I want. Because if you're going to, we talk about failure, and said it's not failure, it's not succeeding the first time. If you're not going to succeed, you might as well do it your way. Because if you don't, and then you look back and you go, shit, I wish I'd have done it the way I was. Yeah, I wish I'd have done it the way I wanted to do it. So you might as well be brave. And he was brave looking back. He was brave, to be fair to him.
Just moving forward, I mean, we can sit and listen to him for hours, but if we don't move on.
Yeah.
Let's just move forward to that first. So you got into the first team.
Yeah.
I think you ousted Charlie Nicholas and then part.
Yeah, he got injured. Again, other people's misfortune can be your own good fortune. Everybody loved Charlie Nicholas. He was a proper cult hero at Arsenal, and he got injured. And then George Graham pulled me in and he said, Charlie's got injured. I've been playing left wing. He said, we're going to play. You've played through the middle before? So I went, yeah, loads of times. I never played through. Never played ever. I went, yeah, loads of times. He said, you played. So lucky enough, I got in. Yeah, no, but again, you have to have ability. I was training with these. The only player that was a non-international at the time was me. All the other players were full.
How did you deal with that sense of everyone else is an international? You've come from non-league. They don't know who you are. You must have had a tremendous self-belief in yourself to be able to.
You have to, because I went from being Colchester United at the time, Colchester United's best player, and being top of the ladder, to not the worst player, but back down to being, you've got to go and prove yourself again. And I must admit, there was nerves, there's excitement, there's everybody, you know, when you hear players say they don't get nervous for the game, that's the biggest load of rubbish you've ever heard. You get nervous before a game, because if you're not nervous, it means you don't care enough. If you're just going into a game like that, yeah, whatever, don't want to, that nervous energy, then you can draw on that, because that makes you focused, that makes you sharp. And I was nervous going into training, and I was thinking, well, actually, no, this is where you want to be. This is what you've always wanted to do. And loads of people saying to me, no, you've made the jump, is too big. 4th division to 1st division is too big. You should have gone to Palace and then gone on. And I'm like that, no, I think I'm good enough. I think I'm good enough to play in this environment. And in my head I was thinking, if I go and it doesn't work, at least I've give it. You know, if I find out that I'm not good enough, so what? I'll go and play somewhere else. So, yeah, it was a good, you know, right place, right time. And as a leader, George Graham as a leader of men was incredible, absolutely incredible.
Just in a few sentences, just summarise for us his style of leadership and management.
Dictator. You do. It sounds quite. You do. We used to call him Saddam Hussein. He loved it. We said, "Oh, here comes Saddam. Look, here he is. Look, the dictator is coming in like that." But he loved it because it's. He used to demand of you and demand that you get everything out of yourself. And if you didn't, he wasn't a coaxer. He wasn't a. What I think maybe if you thought about doing, Arsene Wenger and George Graham are two fantastic managers, and they're both dictators in their business environment, but they do it in different ways. George Graham was, you're going to play on the right wing, you're going to protect your full-back, you're going to show people inside, you're going to get crosses in, you can come back, you're going to work. This is what you're going to do. You're going to close people down. If you don't do it, get out, mind, you ain't going to play. Right? So there's a little bit of fear in there, you know, which you do. And Arsene Wenger is, right, what I would like you to do is, I know you can play on the right side, but in your head, just think about when you can go forward, think about if you've got to come back, think about, and you work it out and you go and express yourself. But then he'd ask you to do it. But if you don't do it, then you'll drop you. So it's the same. It's the same end product, but a different mentality of how you get the best out of people. Because at the end of the day, if you don't play and you're not putting it in, then you don't play in the team. So they're both in their own way, but they're both dictators, but just different mental approaches.
With the aim, and I think that's the key point here, with the aim of getting the best out of the people you put in front of you.
Yeah, and
which is the manager.
Yeah,
job.
and then he was probably 10 years in front of his time, tactically, George Graham. Probably about 10 years in front. And he had us all school. We knew our job. We did the same. And a lot of players moan about training. And I just think, don't moan. That used to do my head in. We're getting paid to do something that we love doing. And you hear these about players saying about pressure and managers saying about pressure. You go, shut up. You're not under pressure. You're getting paid vast amounts of money to do what you love doing. There's not many people who wake up and think, oh, I can't wait to go to work. It's great. A lot of people love their jobs, but it's like being at school. And you know, and when I was a kid, I didn't know that the players that I watched on Match of the Day, where I wanted to play, in your head as a kid, it doesn't transfer to you that you get paid to do that. It doesn't, but I think there's too many people now, mums and dads and maybe little kids, who don't want to be footballers. They want to be famous. They want to be rich. That's, you know, probably a different culture, but the money would. If you're driven by money, and you make decisions through purely financial and money reasons, you'll always make the wrong ones. There'll always be the wrong decisions. You think like that?
And when you look back, I'm absorbing it. When you look back at every person, when you look back at your career, you look back at your playing career, you always pick out the one moment. I think, if I'm right in saying there's got to be just that one famous moment, which I'm sure you'll remind us of the part you played in it, the famous win at Liverpool to win the league.
Yeah. It was, I think, it was May the 26th, 1989, and we had to go to Anfield, Liverpool's home ground, and beat them by 2 clear goals to win us our first title for 18 years. And the era that I played in, you didn't get the ball at Anfield. Liverpool were that good. They were the best club side that we'd ever seen. And I can remember, again, a leader. If you're a leader of men or a leader of people, men, so don't read, you know, but leader of people and whatever work about money, you've got to make those people believe that they can achieve and they can do it. Even if you don't, you've got to make other people believe that they can. And that's great leaders, great captains. And I remember George Graham manager sitting us all down on the. I remember Paul Merson phoning me up. West Ham had got beat 5-1 at home at Anfield, and again landlines, no mobile phones. And he went, that's us done. Then we ain't winning the league. We're going to go up to Anfield. Said it's not even worth going up there. We was like that, like laughing, joking. And George Graham sat us down, and he said, we're going to. I fancy this, lads. I really fancy our chances there. They're going to be under pressure. They're going for the double. They'd won the FA Cup at the time. They'd had the Hillsborough disaster, so there was a lot of emotions going around Liverpool and the whole country anyway. And he said, we're going to play 3 centre-halves, which we'd never done before. We'd always played 2 centre-halves, 4-4-2, playing 3 centre-halves, 5 at the back. We'll get into half-time 0-0. If we get into half-time 0-0, he said, I really fancy our chances. He said, because it's theirs to lose. Again, the psychology plays big parts. It's theirs to lose. They've got one hand on it already. They're at home. Everybody knows they're favourites. No one beats them at home. It's theirs. So he said, we're getting it 0-0. The momentum will change. They'll start getting a bit more uptight, a bit more nervous. If we score, make it 1-0, bam, he went, game on. We'll win it. He said, then I'll make substitutions. I'll put some forwards on. Then we're going to go for it. And I can remember the first team squad, about 78 of us, all going away for our warm-ups, right? And saying to our coach, Theo Foley at the time, going, what's the matter with your mate? Is he just having a mental breakdown? Is he gone mad? Like, he said, he's gone mad. He said, we ain't going to go to Liverpool and beat by 2 clear goals. And it's like, Theo Foley, he went, no. He believes that you are going to. He believes that you're going to go out there and beat him by 2 clear goals. And he set out, again, a philosophy, a path of how we're going to do it. And we gave flowers out before kick-off. Because it was like a bear pit going in there. They're very raw, and we gave them out a big, massive bunch of flowers each. As we run out, each player had a bunch of flowers. It's typical Arsenal. Arsenal got a lot of class to give flowers out, right, to the crowd, right, and everybody went So it went from being this cauldron of gladiatorial hatred ain't the right word, emotions. We gave you flowers out, and all of a sudden, all the Liverpool fans went, that's unbelievable. And it went, and for the first 10, 15 minutes of the game, it was flat. And looking back, it was a fantastic gesture, but psychologically, he got it spot on, because he just went, that's great. So it just took the whole sting out of it. Honestly, it was just like, oh, Jesus, you've just worked that out. You've done, two birds with one stone, basically. And I remember playing in the game, all the lads were quite calm, got in at 0-0 at half-time, and he went, lads, it's the best I've ever seen. He was always critical what you hadn't done, always. You haven't held the ball up. You're not tracking back. You're not doing that. Get out. So one of the only team talks, he's gone, perfect. And every player's sitting there like that, going, is he all right? What do you mean, perfect? You go, perfect. Couldn't have gone any better. He said, back three, you're superb. You're nice and tight. Richo, Rocky and in midfield. He said, you control it there. Smudge on Mersh. He said, make a few more runs, but on it well. He said, we're going to score. He said, we scored the first goal. We're in. And Alan Smith scored in the 53rd minute, I think he did. And then he made 2, so I went on and Martin Hayes went on to 2 forwards. And I could see in the Liverpool players' faces, and you're talking John Barnes, Peter Beardsley, Alan Hansen, Mark Lawrence, top international players who'd won leagues after leagues after leagues. I saw their faces just go tension like that, watching them going, Jesus Christ, this has got to you. So they're 1-0. They're 1-0 down, but they're still going to be champions. And then he put me on, and I changed the whole game. No, he put me on. And, the ball, and I can remember they say apparently the great sportsmen and the great businessmen and the great leaders, big stuff happens to them in slow motion. I'm not saying I'm a great sportsman, but I can remember needing to score. And I can remember Kevin Richardson, our midfield player, little chicken legs, closing John Barnes down in the corner. And this was in the 93rd minute, 92nd minute. Getting the ball off of him and giving it to our goalkeeper, John Lukic. John Lukic trying out to Lee Dixon playing it to Alan Smith. Alan Smith trying to lay it off to Michael Thomas. And then it was like robotic. My job was to make a run across the back 4 and try and get in behind. So I made that run and took the whole back 4 with me, because they knew where the danger was. They knew I was the danger, so the whole back 4 came with me and left a massive gap for Michael Thomas to run through. And I can remember looking over my left shoulder and watching Michael Thomas run from basically the centre circle, big gap, nobody around him, to the edge of the box, and everything went in slow motion. Everything went just in my head. I won't swear because it's like, but effing Tomo, effing shoot, mate, effing shoot. And you could see the defenders just like closing him down, you know, encroaching on him. You think, you're going to get tackled. Tomo, you're going to get tackled. You're going to get tackled. And he waited and waited and waited. And Bruce Drobler committed himself. He flicked it over him. And so we go 2-0 up. And then it's just, oh my God, we've just gone 2-0 up. And if I was better media trained, I'd have run to the left-hand side of the goal as you face it, because Michael Thomas was doing a silly somersault. Everyone's going on it. I'd have got in so many photographs. But my head went completely. I went into fan, and the fans were on the right-hand side. So I just became a fan. I was a fan on the pitch with a kit. It was like, like straight to them. And then we won it. And I remember in the dressing room afterwards, me, Paul Merson, Steve Bold, champagne's going on. I said, chaps, do you remember the gaffer's team talk, what he said was going to happen? And it happened to a T. But he didn't say he was going to score in the 93rd minute, but he was the only one who genuinely, if you ask any player, none of us believed we thought we could beat them, but beating by 2 clear goals just didn't happen in those days. And I said he was the only one who really, really believed it, and he got us to believe it. And everybody says about, obviously quite rightly, Michael Thomas takes all the plaudits because it's one of the greatest goals that Arsenal ever scored because of what it meant. That Aguero moment is nothing, because those two teams, they were playing in different pitches, and no team could stop the other one. Liverpool obviously could stop us, we stopped them. And everybody goes, Tomo went for it, and it's fantastic. Mental strength, big heart, because he put himself there. But people forget, well, players don't. Kevin Richardson, the one who ran back towards his own goal in the 90th minute to close somebody down, which was John Barnes, to take the ball off of him, to give it to John Lukic, our goalkeeper. If he doesn't do that end with the desire, and this is George Graham's whole ethos and philosophy coming to fruition, if he doesn't have a player with the will and the desire to do the ugly stuff and go back and do it and rob John Barnes and give it to John Lukic, it doesn't end up in Liverpool's net at the other end. So it's about, you know, his whole philosophy coming in. I mean, most neutrals can remember, because it was live on ITV. I think there was about 19.7 million people watching it. And that's why all the lads get loads of money now, because all the TVs actually went, we need more football on telly. But it was a George Graham as a leader and as a manager thinking, yeah, we can do it. You know, and it's a brilliant. I don't think he was probably. Well, he probably is as educated. I'm trying to not as Arsenal, because Arsenal's very philosophical and he's got degrees in economics and all that sort of stuff. But you still have to have those leadership qualities. And I think you can learn them, but I think you're born with them.
You touched on something just before, which just takes me on to the next point, which, I mean, you brought that whole scenario alive, and I think you've demonstrated in a way what it was that for you, the dream team that you played in, that everyone was clicking, because you did mention that your team, the next...
Yeah, I think as a dream team, I think that was a mental dream team. I don't mean mental was going out, well, you go and get drunk quite a lot actually, but I think, but a mentally tough dream team where you had 5 or 6 players who George Graham had bought from the lower leagues, who had that desire and heart and, you know, ambition, and the mental toughness. So as a group of probably not the most gifted group of players to win a title, just shows you what you can do if you've all got the same philosophy and the same belief and the same desire. The dream team, talent-wise, the 91 team that I played in when we won the title and lost 1 game that year, that had the ethic and the work mentality of the 89 team. That we added a couple of players, Anders Limpar, who was the flair player who made us a great team, and Dave Seaman, the goalkeeper, was just the best goalkeeper in Europe at the time. So that was probably talent and mental strength. But for mental strength, there was nobody mentally stronger than that group of players in like 1989. And that's you can. And I said right at the beginning, and it seems like I've actually put this together, but I haven't really. But when I said about you can have a little bit of talent and loads of desire and heart, it can take you to places. Loads of talent and no desire, don't get nowhere. So that team was little bits of talent, but everybody having that same desire. That's it. That's what it was. Really.
And that's what you're saying, that if the manager's got a vision, he imparts it, he gives you the belief that you can do it, and everyone pulls together.
Yeah,
that's what it needs.
You've got to believe in his philosophy. You've got to believe in his leadership, which you do, and then you lock onto it.
Something coming towards the end, but if we just... You touched on something when you said when that goal went in at Liverpool and you won 2-0, your immediate reaction, you ran to the fans. Yeah. Now, I'm sure all of you know that Perry became a bit of a cult hero after you retired, I think.
Yeah, more so, yeah. I'm a better player now, retired.
After Perry retired, he became a cult hero with the fans to the extent that there is a song about Perry named from number 1 to 11. You can sing it if you want.
No. It takes too long. That'll do.
Basically, all the numbers from 1 till 11 are Perry Groves, except for number 7, which is Liam Brady. Because he's got his very own dream team where he plays in every position except the number 7.
Yeah.
But what was it, and that's what interests me, because the fact that you ran to the fans, I think, is partly the answer. What was it that the fans identified in you after you played that they made you and you've become this legend and cult hero?
I think because they knew I was a fan, and I actually played like a fan. If you look at Thierry Henry, he'll do things that those people watching him could never. They go, I couldn't do that. I couldn't flick it up and smash it over my shoulder or beat 5 or 6 people. So he's like a dream. You say like a dream player that they couldn't. I'm watching something. I'm paying to see something that I couldn't do. I think with me is they looked at me and thought, if I had the opportunity to play for Arsenal, that's how I'd play. I'd play like him. I would run around like a chicken. Just run around and give everything. I think then when I stopped playing, they got that it meant a lot to me. It meant as much to me what it did to them. So I think they saw me as a fan in the shirt, and some of it is a bit ironic. Some of it is, and I find it quite humbling, to be fair, because there's far better players than me who don't get sung about. And for me, if someone had said to me when I first went there, you're going to have a song and the fans are going to sing about you in the Allianz in Birmingham or in the new camp when you're not playing anymore, I'd have thought they was mad. And what I do now is, if it hasn't been sung for 4 or 5 games, I send 4 of my family along to the Emirates, and they start just singing it over in the corner. Number 1, very good, and then everybody starts singing. So you send your family, and then it will keep it right. But it's quite humbling. It is quite humbling because to be remembered as well is quite humbling, really. Yeah, it's quite good.
But again, to show your following, when you came out with your autobiography, which I think was at the same time as Ashley Cole.
Yes.
Perry's autobiography sold more than Ashley Cole's, so again showing...
And Steven Gerrard's and Frank Lampard's.
I think Frank Lampard as well, if you're already
saying. Yeah, no, I want to talk about it. I don't like
why are you not throwing Rio's Ferdinand?
My ex-wife quite likes it, actually, to be fair. She was right. She got a lot of royalties, so that was right.
But I think that, again, was because of your rawness, honesty.
Yeah, him saying stupid things as well. And I think what happened was, I'd like to say it was fantastic marketing by the publishing company, but it wasn't. It was just a bit of luck, where he had his book out at the same time and he looked like he wanted to leave, and Arsenal offered him, I don't quite remember, 65 grand a week to stay, and he nearly crashed his car because he thought, oh, you're not showing enough faith in me, I can't believe the derogatory amount of money you've owed me. And so his book come out is, Arsenal were lucky and privileged to have me playing for them. Mine was, I was privileged and lucky to play for Arsenal. So you had 2 different ends of the spectrum, and then the fans nicely said, right, we're going to buy Groves, because it is a privilege to play for Arsenal. It is a privilege. There's a saying that I tell everybody, when you become famous, it's not you, the shirt makes you famous. The shirt makes you famous. What you do in that shirt makes you famous. And then you move on, like Thierry Henry, crowd favourite. When Ian Wright stopped playing, everybody goes, oh my God, what are we going to do? We ain't got a goal scorer. Wright is left. Thierry Henry comes in, they go, oh, stuff Wright, we got Thierry Henry. But you get remembered afterwards, but it's the king's dead, long live the king. So it's the shirt that makes you famous. And I think what the fans got at was, yeah, Perry got it. It's a privilege to play. It's a privilege to play. It's a privilege to get paid to play football, let alone, play for like my team. Yeah, that was probably why I reckon.
And you moved into the media, which we hear you regularly in the media, but also your loyalty though for Arsenal has never waned with regard to. What was it on the radio when you were offered? They asked you to put on a Tottenham shirt.
And that makes me look bad because I paid it. It was Children in Need, and it was called the Shirt of Hurt, and it's you wear your deadliest rivals football shirt. So, and then you do it for charity. You wear it for a day. So I was on Colin Murray on the radio show. He went, "Yeah, here's your Tottenham shirt. Put it on for charity children." I just went, "You're joking, ain't happening." So he went, "What do you mean?" He went, "Ain't happening." He said, right, but you've got to donate. If you don't work, you've got to put money in for charity. I went, all right. He said, how much is it worth? I went, 50 quid. And they were giving me 50 quid to go to charity for me to put it on. So I went, no. He said, all right, you're going to have to pay charities. And it got up to 400 quid. So I had to pay 400 quid to charity because I wouldn't put the Tottenham shirt on. My missus weren't happy, to be fair. She didn't really get it, but I couldn't do it, and it wasn't. I just couldn't do it because it's illegal and abhorrent.
And tell us finally just about what you're doing now with Play with a Legend.
Yeah, the Play with Legend, I've got my business partner Josh. I have to say business partner because if I say partner, it can have a different phrase. So he asked me to play. One of his best mates was playing in a five-a-side game for a stag. So all lads going out, have a few drinks Friday, play a five-a-side game on the Saturday. And he's a big Arsenal fan, and he said, would I go and play in the game? So I said, yeah, I'd love to. So I went and played. The lads loved it. They was as hungover as I was, so we was on the same level really. But played for an hour, went in the bar, had a few pints, and obviously Arsenal fans, they talk about stories and all stuff like that. And then I think you got a request for Nigel Winterburn to go and play in one. And then Josh went to find himself for 3 months, and you're in Australia or something like that, as the young kids do these days. He went to find, and then when he come back, he was looking at, and I had been thinking about it, and we got together and said, there's a business here somewhere. There has to be a business. The joy that it brought to these lads, and for me as well, talking about football, there must be a business. So we sat down, through a few of my connections through football. I think we've got 85 now, I don't know, 85, 90 ex-players ranging from Didi Hamann, Danny Murphy, Matt Letizia, Andy Cole's done some stuff for us, hasn't he? Robbie Fowler. From that end down to old has-beens like me and like Tony Cotty, Pat Nevin. So we've got 80 players, and basically they go and play. We get calls for stag games or birthdays or whatever, and the lads go along and they get a chance to play with their heroes. And part of the deal is we only take players who have good characters, because not good characters as in go to church and that sort of stuff, but I mean as in I've been to loads of events where people just play in a game and they bugger off. Where part of the deal is you stay for an hour and a half afterwards with the lads in the bar, and they actually, most of them, they're the ones that are last to leave because they're having a great time. So you get the players, and it's we do into different events. We do put a lot of media stuff. There's a lot of betting companies who want quotes from players. So we just add in all the time. So anybody's hero, basically, they phone us up, and it could go from, it does not necessarily. We've got loads of big names on it, but we got a request. A Cheltenham fan wanted a Cheltenham centre forward. He was his hero. So then you just phone up and go, fancy come play this game? Yep, it's there. So it means as much to the Cheltenham fans to get a Cheltenham hero in as well it does to an Arsenal fan getting the Arsenal hero in. So it's we must be doing all right because we're 18 months down the line and getting a good reputation, paying the players early, which they quite like. To be fair. That's all right. So we just added Alan Kirbishley. He's just come onto the site, and Chris Sutton. So you add it, But it's proved a very, very good concept because it's a feel good, It's a feel good thing.
Excellent. I'm sure you will all agree. Thank you, Perry. That Perry has been
Pleasure.
a very fantastic. Fantastically entertaining and educating us as well about what it takes to be a winner, which I'm sure you all agree you certainly are, both during your football career and after. So we thank you very, very much.
Pleasure. Thank you. Cheers. Thank you.